All right, what's up, folks? Today is August the 19th, 2025. So, one of the things that I'm going to start back in on are my daily recaps. Daily recaps won't essentially be telling you anything specific, anything special, anything that you might not already be able to ascertain yourself, but it will just be my account of all above things, and I might have a different perspective than what you have. So, um, we're just going to kind of go through this couple pieces at a time. Um, let's see. So the first thing that I'll show you, I'll just pull up my notes here, and we'll go through those, and then I'll show you the replay, and then we'll call it a day. So a couple minutes at most, and we'll be out of here. All right. So if you look at Samsung Flow, this is my notes from today. Let's see if I can get some other tools here. Okay. So first things first, today is a today today we are here. Okay, so we moved down into a bearish fashion after first trying to retest this area here, and we couldn't break that high, right? And so it was rejected, and we pushed down. But that resistance was also the break area below this consolidation when we opened on, I guess it was Sunday. We opened there. We had that break, that low break there. We couldn't get above it here, and then we couldn't get above it here, and then we pushed down. Okay, so that's looking at it on the 15-minute time frame. On the higher time frame, if we go over to, let's see, which way did I do this? I think I went left to right. Okay, so now we're going to go over to the 5 minute, or no, still the 15-minute time frame. But what I wanted to show you here was that we are. I've got two versions here. So this first version shows you just generally that you have more of your volume up here in this top, which makes sense just because you've got a lot more action at the top of this range, right? This is just so quick. There's not much in here, not much in there. And then, of course, we drop down there. But if you look at this picture, this is really only capturing the volume from here and up, right? And so, but it doesn't include what happened today, right? Because this is outside of this box. It doesn't include what happened today. Now, this is one of the scripts that I put together. So, yeah, this is one of the scripts I put together. Forgive me if my mic is in and out. Let me see if I can find a better way to do this so that you can hear what's going on, because I have to look down while I'm working with my tablet. Okay. All right. So what we have here is what I'm looking at here is, notice you have a couple of bases that were formed along the way today. Well, those bases more or less coincide with, like I said, even though we didn't look at the volume, this volume here is outside of what we were looking at. Even though we didn't look at any of this volume today, this base here lined up with this node here. This base here lined up with, I believe it's this node here. And then this base here lined up with this node here. So all these bases, all these stops along the way coincided with some higher profile of a volume. So I thought that was just interesting, right? So, right. All right, if we go over to the 5 minute time frame, only thing I want to show you here was, not only was this so this is the high of the day, this red line, but this area also generally here was 1, 2, 3 days of VWAP. This area just above it was 3 days of VWAP. So that was a significant amount of pressure at that level. Okay. And then not only that, but you see over here, we've got multiple resistance bounces, the red, and we've got multiple demand bounces, the blue. So there's a lot of resistance in this area. There's a lot of reason to defend this area, protect this area, or use it as liquidity. Okay. All right, so that's 5-minute time frame. And then we already went to this chart. Okay, here, like I said, we noted that the resistance was at prior VWAP. It was prior consolidation high, and also he had large volume move. So this bar right here was a large move up with large volume, and it broke the consolidation of a prior area. This was the prior area. We could call this the consolidation range, right? Because you got a high, high. So you have all those resistance areas, and it broke just above that and then rejected, right? So you definitely wouldn't want to take, just as you're getting over this range here, you wouldn't want to take this long, not just yet, not unless it came down and found a good reason to, if it came through and then it came down, here will be where you would get in at to go higher. Okay. All right, so that's that one. This next one here is looking at the average ratio nodes of the level 2. So this is talking about the market depth, right? So the market depth is not actual orders that happen on the time and sales. This is what shows up in your level 2, your market depth. So what we're seeing here is that there were a lot of, what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the average ratio nodes is you have, let's see, I don't know if I have it here. Let me see if I can pull up on my other monitor here. So here you see how you have 10 levels of bids, 10 levels of ask. You see how this one level of the bid is moderately larger than the rest of it. That's what that script does. That script looks to see what the ratio of this largest out of this 10, this largest level here, the ratio from this largest to its average, and then on every tick it takes the largest to the average, largest to the average, largest to the average, and then it takes the average of that, right? So I don't like the idea of getting faked out where on one tick you have a large amount of you have a level with a large amount, and then all of a sudden it just disappears forever, right? So I'm taking that large level to its average, and then I'm averaging that in with all the other ticks on that bar. And so if there's a large level that just sticks around and sticks around and sticks around, then that average will be higher. So when we go back to our script, we will see that amount of market depth really sticks around. Okay, and so that was on the ask side. Now here I just hadn't got my chart set up yet, so I don't know how high this action was, but obviously you can see throughout the rest of the day, throughout this sell down, this sell off, this sell off, this sell off, nothing was really this high, right? Nothing was that high. And then when we started coming down here, now the bids start coming into play. So it's looking for a bounce, okay? But you need more than just market action, level 2 action for a bounce. You also need the sales, the actual sales to come in on the time and sales provider. So that's where we move over to next. On the time and sales provider, like I said, over here, you see that there was action for the bids to start coming in again. 11, so 12 o'clock, 12:10, 12:30. But if you look over here at 12 o'clock, nothing really. 12:10, nothing really. 12:30, nothing really. Nothing, no actual sales happen. But here, now you're starting to get some actual volume to your bids. Okay, here you're getting some volume to your bids. So this one here, I would say no, not yet, because we actually didn't break a low yet. We do want to break a low whenever we're looking to go long or short. So, excuse me, if we're looking to go short, we want to take this high amount of ask, and this broke a prior high, right? It was just tipping over the prior highs. So then you take it short. Here, you got a high amount of bids right here or in here, and it might have broke this level, but it didn't break it by much. If so, you need to wait for a higher high anyway. So you wouldn't be looking in until you get right there anyway. But here, same thing. Now we've broken several levels, broke that level, broke this level. So now we're still, again, looking for a break of the high to go long. Okay. All right. So, but the main thing I want to point out, like I said, is the most obvious one that we're looking at is the break of the high, that tip, the break of the high. We got a large amount of ask, the red, large amount of ask, and that the lines are the thin line is a large amount of ask, and the blue line is bids, right? Okay, and then these dots here are the mid to large size orders. Okay, so here we're seeing that we got a lot more red action in here, right? Okay, but we definitely did see that the thin line, the small orders, the thin line, the small orders are getting liquidated through there. Okay, so the thin line, if the small orders get liquidated, we want to see both the small orders getting liquidated because that's smaller money, that's smaller orders, and we also want to see larger orders, which means bigger money, coming into play. So we don't want to just see one or the other, because if small orders get liquidated, that just means that people have gotten into bad positions or they're covering their positions and they just can't take it anymore. But the market's not moving yet until you have larger orders coming into play, right? Until you have bigger money coming into play. So, like for instance, you'll see this blue here. These are bids being taken, but then you finally have a larger blue bid dot there. And here you have the large blue bids. And then you also have the large bid order here. Okay, and otherwise, the bids are showing up here. The larger bids are showing up here. You see, look, we're looking for the dots. Where's the red? Where are the red dots at? Red dots aren't showing up yet. Okay, the red dots aren't showing up. The red dots are still low. That means that cumulatively, there aren't many large asks in this area. They've all given up their position. Now the large bids are starting to come into play. So we're starting to look for the long, looking for the buy. All right. Let's say. And again, when we're here, we have the large ask, and then we have a large amount of large ask orders here. Now we do have some large bids coming into play here too. Not saying that buyers are not fighting to try to bid this up. We're just saying that the asks were pretty strong here, and they actually overtook this area. Okay. And buyers did try to buy it back up here, or I won't even say the buyers tried to buy it back up here, because you can see that is a large amount of small orders. And what do small orders mean? Small orders means liquidity and covering. Okay, so this is liquidity and covering here. This is not a buy. is not a buy. We don't have large bids. We don't have large buyers. We have the red. We have ask there. Okay. All right. So the last one here is I made this script here that I had made last week for the 15-second time frame. Usually on the 15-second time frame. I also made it for the 1-minute time frame, as well as made it so that it writes to a file so I can recover it. Now this one here, this is what I was using prior, which essentially got updated with this new script that I made. This one here, you see these peaks are 1 bar off. This one is actually the best version. So that's why I say it's not a bad idea to, as you learn more and as you accomplish more of your programming, to redo some of the scripts that you've done in the past. And that's why I don't get too hung up on any one script, because I know that one script is it can be a weak link, right? Especially if it's got some issues, or it could be improved, for efficiency or performance. So anyway, this is the better script here. This one up here. All right. Like I said, this just is essentially what we saw on the other script. This is just a 1-minute time frame. So again, up here we see that now we've got red ask at the top here. Let's see here, and that's the benefit of using multiple time frames. Okay, so the asks have either covered or stopped out here in this bar, because remember, this broke a high, right? But it couldn't get back over it. Okay, and then down here, I think we saw in the other one that bids did peak here, so bids peak here. So even if you thought you were going to buy here, you wouldn't want to buy here. You don't want to buy until you get a new high. This is a shucks. I mean, I think high, even, equal high, lower. This one is barely a higher high, but then lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. This would have been the first place where you might want to take the entry. After getting a large amount, seeing that bids or longs potentially got wicked out, stopped, or liquidity taken, just to push it back up again. But we don't see any large bids here. We just see that large ask. So this really was a good fake out. Okay. That's all I'm seeing there. Okay, but so on this one here, like I said, we moved up, we moved above that break, that consolidation. We took the liquidity of the weaker shorts and stops getting shorted, and then we had the larger ask there. Yeah, that's right. We had the larger ask there. Okay. Larger. And then also in this region here, you see that plus there? That plus is a mega size order, right? So this line are small orders. These dots are large, mid to large orders. And the pluses, if you see a plus, it's a mega size order, contract size over 150. We got a mega size order there on the bid side. So you would think that we would push up, right? Bid side, mega size order. We essentially did push up. And when did we push up? Even though it was on this bar, when did we push up? After we got a high, lower, equal high, lower, take that break and you go long, and then you wait for shorts to get liquidated or to get stopped out with more larger ask in the mix. Okay, all right. So I think that's it for me, guys. I think. One other thing I wanted to show you. Let's see. This is just a replay of the chart today. Let's This is not it. Okay, so the replay of the chart today looks like this. So I have pretty much all of the most of the day recorded, screen recorded, but I'm just replaying on a loop. I'm replaying the time when we went to that highest point of the day, and then we kind of consolidated a little bit, and then we dropped down. So if we put this on a fast forward, and again, it's on a loop. Now that's the end of the loop. That's the end of the end of the loop. That's the end of the loop. That's the end of the loop there. All right, so what we want to see, what we're observing for, is what happens. Oh, it skipped by me. All right, let's go back. All right, so we're observing what happens as we push up to this highest area. All right, you see the mid to large orders going up as we're moving up to our highest point. Okay, and I thought I had something I wanted to mention there. I think one of the things I will bring back into my equation is what's happening at the most immediate in the market at the closest level, right? So at level 1 depth in the market, what is this number? Or maybe an average amongst all the ticks. Yeah, I'll figure that out. Maybe I want the low, maybe I want the average, but I want to get an idea of what's happening at this most immediate level in the market, because I'm seeing, you can see the difference. So wait till we start over here. You can see that the asks overpower the bids as we're moving up. So about to start over. And then we'll just slow it down. Tell you what, let's speed it up. Then we'll slow it down. Okay, so as we slow it down here, you see that the volume of the ask, 125, 135 compared to 30, 15, 19, 60 compared to 19, 70 compared to 26. I think when you're looking at the ask, you see that, well, we've already moved into the bid zone here now. We're already selling off. So let's move back. Let's scroll it back and work our way up to the top. Okay, now as we work our way up to the top, you see that large ask there in the market? That's what we saw on that one chart that I was showing you that showed like there was a large node in the ask. That's it. And so as we're moving up, 31, 38, 70, you see 70, 17, 15, 53, 39, 40, 50, 40, 20. 657. Yeah, so I wanna make a script that can kind of capture what's going on here. Got ask high, ask higher, 125 it peaked. You saw that quick 125 that blipped through there. Now it dropped down to 6 really quickly. So maybe I don't want to see the largest. Maybe I want to look for the smallest. For any given level, what's the smallest that shows up? You know what? Actually, I think that's a really good idea, because at any given level, when you don't have when you have a smallest like a 4 there, that means that there's nothing at that level, and it'd be much easier for the market to run through it. So what I think, I wouldn't just need that level. I would need like some type of printout or some type of indicator that makes a bar. This could be good. Coming up with some ideas here, but because I need to capture the price. I need to capture the price that has that lowest value. So essentially, I would be making an indicator that creates a bar. Yeah, I think so. It will more or less create like a heat map of a bar, and then I could use different colors to signify if the amount was higher or lower. And like I said, compared to like a footprint, a delta footprint or something like that, which is cumulative, this would not be cumulative. This would be a minimum. And with a cumulative measure, you would miss when this drops down to 16 or 4 or something. You would miss those values because the larger numbers would catch would make up for the slack. And I've got a lot of stuff that already looks at the maximum anyway. I need to find that minimum, I believe. Okay, so I got something else to look at. All right, so the only other thing I'll show you is we talked about the larger amounts of orders that showed up. So let me just kind of show you that piece. When we started moving up, we had, see, the last large price was $10.03. Okay, so as we're moving up toward our high of the day, I'll speed it up one tick. As we're moving up toward our high of the day, we're going to see these orders, these large orders show up. All right, this 955 bid was in here that we talked about before. But the larger order, as we push toward that high of the day, as we push toward that prior consolidation high, will show up right around here. Where you at? Where you at? Okay, right there. All right, so 100 and 185. And not to mention, now that I'm looking at this chart here, this, okay, it goes up a little bit higher. But this level right here that we got this initial bounce through, this level here was also a prior day's high. Oh, well, we went well through that though. We pushed up toward this area in here. Yeah, so we kept pushing on up. All right, so, but that was a good place to capture these swing highs here. Was at this prior day swing high. Okay, guys, gals, that is me. That is me for today. I'm out of here. Hope you got a little something out of this video. If you did, by all means, you know what? I'm not even gonna say it anymore. If it's valuable to you, you'll come back. All right, I'm Eric. I'm out. Peace.